All right, we are here. Okay. We're on. Okay, so I'm gonna give it just a couple of seconds, not even minutes, seconds. And then when people start coming in, we'll get more into the live feed. I know I normally do this on Tuesdays, but I postponed it and I did not want to miss doing a live this week. So I decided to do it today. I hope that most of the people who normally join our Tuesday lives will be able to make it in today to be a part of this. Give me 2 seconds, just 2 seconds. Okay. All right, so we're just gonna get right into it, and I guess whomever joins will join. I just wanted to do this live today because, like I said, I postponed it from Tuesday, and it's important that these weekly lives are done because we have a lot of people that are going through the motions. We have a lot of people who just want to be heard. We have a lot of people who have questions. We have a lot of people who are dealing with a lot. So let's just get started. So welcome to Intuitive Vibes Narc Survival 101. It is your girl Erica here. If you are new to the channel, if this is your first time passing through on a live, stick around. You may hear something that you need to know in regards to your situation, or you may have questions and you need answers to them. And of course, if you happen to enjoy today's live, go through some of my content, go through my videos, old videos, recent videos, whatever video you need. I have different topics on narcissistic abuse. Pretty much a lot of them are covered. And of course, if you like the channel, you find the videos to be helpful, hit the subscribe button. So that way you're notified every time we go live and we're, posting up videos. And of course, to my existing subscribers, welcome back, guys. So, guys, there were just a couple of things that I wanted to address, and then we're going to get into it. The first thing I wanted to address was the narcissist, the female narcissist / sociopath video. I am still working on it. I was hoping to have the video out by this week, but unfortunately, I haven't really been feeling too well this week. And I had a lot of stuff that I had to take care of on my personal end. And if you guys know me, I don't like to do videos when I'm not in focused mode. I'm not in the real creative mode. So it really tampers with the quality of the video. It's not about quantity, it's quality. And I really wanted to do this video to really have a very strong impact, and of course, give you as much informative details as possible that you would need. So I am still working on that video, and I will be posting that video up. I know it's a really important video. It pertains to a lot of important details that not many people really touch, when it comes to female narcissism. So I'm definitely going to be working on that video for you guys. Hi. Well, let me look at my phone because. Hi, Marcelo. Welcome. Thank you for being here. There are going to be more people probably coming in throughout the live chat, but nice of you to be here. Hi, Yashua. Welcome. I'm glad you were able to make it too. So that was the one thing I wanted to mention. Another thing I wanted to mention was someone made a comment on a video that I had put up, and I wanted to address that because I'm not one who feeds into negative comments. I don't feed into any of it. Amanda, hi, Princess. I'm sorry. I'm going to look at my phone because I'm never going to try to kill myself looking at the, hi, Princess. Somebody did make a comment on a video that I had put up. It was in regards to the narcissistic collapse. And I normally don't entertain, the notions of any kind of negative feedback. I really don't think it was meant to be negative feedback. I think it was meant to be it's a difference of opinion, which is perfectly fine. I'm not, I don't get my panties in a bunch if someone doesn't agree with me. But they put a comment on that video in regards to pretty much what I was saying was wrong. And if you go to what they use as a real therapist, you will be given the proper information that you need in regards to the collapse, narcissistic collapse. And of course, this is the collapse of a narcissist. Now, I don't try to discredit anyone, and I don't try to throw anyone under the bus when it boils down to psychology. But I want to explain something here. Psychology, it's been going on for the longest of times. And when it boils down to psychology, one of the things we got to understand is a lot of it is based on theory. Okay. Psychology is the study of the mind. It's the study of the psyche. And a lot of psychiatrists, therapists, psychotherapists, different people in the profession, you're going to have different people that have differences of opinions. Okay. With Sigmund Freud, though he did his experiments and he did everything he had to do in regards to trying to understand the human psyche, there were other psychiatrists, there were other, therapists, psychologists who didn't agree with him, who didn't agree with his theories, who didn't agree with his experiments, didn't agree with any of it. So, just like in the medical field, if you go to a doctor and a doctor says, well, you have to have surgery to, to take care of a certain part of your anatomy, you're always given the option of having a second opinion, because there may be another doctor that you can go to maybe possibly try a different route. So when it boils down to my content, I appreciate that people appreciate what I do. And I can appreciate people having differences of opinions, but I do not like the idea of trying to discredit me and put someone else out there. A psychiatrist, a psychologist, and a therapist, they may know textbook, they may know studies, they may know, experiments, they may know a lot of different things. But the reality of it is that unless they've actually experienced what a lot of us have experienced when it boils down to, whatever it is in our lives that we have gone through, they're not going to really truly understand. Now, this person tried to put that, well, the narcissist is not the one that's going to withdraw. Well, it's not the one that's going to withdraw, and they're not the ones who are going to be abandoned. It's the victim. The victim is the one who's going to be abandoned. The victim is the one who's going to withdraw and isolate themselves from everyone. And, this therapist or this psychiatrist or this person basically says that that's the way it goes, and it's not the way Erica is saying it. I personally did not like that comment, because that to me lets me know that there is a form of encouragement, in a sense of you're encouraging victims to believe that they are unable to pretty much cope and heal from the situation. And to sit there and say, well, the victims are the ones who are abandoned. Let's look at it from survivor standpoint. Okay. If you were the one who was abandoned and being in a dynamic with a narcissist, being around a family of a narcissist and friends of a narcissist and different types of people that were more on the narcissist side, if you were the one who was abandoned by the narc themselves or the people that involved themselves with the narc, I don't really look at that as a bad thing. And at the end of the day, they pretty much did you the favor of removing themselves from your life. But to sit there and say that the victims become a total recluse and they're the ones who are, just abandoned, and they're the ones who isolate and withdraw themselves. When it comes to narcissistic collapse, we're not so much referring to the victims, we're referring to the perpetrator, to the manipulator, to the person who has caused so much havoc in your life and has done, unnecessary bullshit. That's who we are referring to. We're not referring to the victims. The victims have their own things that they have to deal with. And like I said, if people abandon you and they're supposed to be your friends and your family and your peoples, then those are not real friends. Those are people you need to clearly stay away from. But I just don't like the idea of when if or when someone in the profession tries to say, well, the victim is pretty much the one who gets the shitty end of the stick, and that's just the way it is. No, no, I will not agree with that. I will not co-sign to that. And I will not be the kind of therapist that will sit there and say, well, hey, what are you going to do? You know, you got to move on with your life and try to deal with it. No, you have your ways of dealing with things, and you have your ways of thinking about things. And one of the things in this type of situation is we have to consider the victims. We have to consider the survivors. We have to consider the people who received the abuse, and really try to help them to get out of that stance. Victims are only victims if you stay in victim mode. So a lot of you are survivors, okay? Which means that you decided to remove yourself from being a victim, from being part of that, and actually building yourself up. You know, rebuilding yourself up, regaining your independence emotionally and mentally, and really just doing what was necessary for you. So, you know, to the people who would like to sit there and say, you don't know what you're talking about, I strongly, you know, I don't agree with you. This person who's a real therapist, this person who's a real psychologist is the one who says X, Y, and Z, and this is how it should go. Yeah, if you clearly you want to sit there and believe what other people say, and instead of really just being open-minded about maybe this is a possibility, maybe that person, what that person is saying makes a little bit more sense. I'm listen, I'm a survivor, and I'm always going to fight for survivors. I'm always going to fight for victims. I'm always going to be on your side, because at the end of the day, the kind of abuse that you've endured, nobody deserves that. Not even an animal deserves that, let alone a human being. So I just wanted to get that point out there as well. But thank you guys for being here, and thank you so much for showing your support. Marcelo, unfortunately, many therapists have very little knowledge about narcissist patterns and complexity of behavior. Actually, some of them haven't checked themselves about it. Thank you. And believe it, you know what? And believe it or not, you have a lot of narcissists who enter the psychology field. They enter the field so that way they can utilize their techniques in a professional way, where they're more, victims are more open and they're more vulnerable, because they're sharing their experiences, and they're actually going to someone who was accredited, who was certified to do this, to be a part of that person's life. Because if you go to a therapist, that person is a part of your life, whether it's just on a professional level. That person is still a part of your life. That person is learning details of your life, and they're learning personal things about you. And one of the dangerous tools that a narcissist can have is the control of the mind. So when people go to a therapist, they're trusting that this is going to be open and is going to be helpful, because that's what therapists are supposed to be. They're supposed to be there to help you, and not pass judgment, not be biased. That's the whole point of you going to a therapist, because they don't know you. They're not affiliated with your situation. So they're going to give you the best they can and try to help you move on from that. But when that person just was like, oh, well, this person is a real psychiatrist, a real psychologist, it's kind of like, well, Erica doesn't know what she's talking about. I've spoken to quite a few people who have been at the bottomless pit and have actually managed to pick themselves up based on whatever information I provided, based on how I explain things. And I'm glad I'm able to do that. But don't let anyone fool you. Don't let anyone sit here and tell you, well, you're a victim of narcissistic abuse, so you pretty much allowed this to happen. And don't let them discourage you. That's my point of it. Don't let them discourage you. And at any time, if I can reassure you that this is what's going to happen, and I know for a fact that it's going to happen, I'm going to give that to you, because you guys deserve it. You guys deserve that much. You deserve to, be encouraged and to be pushed into the direction that you need to be in, not to sit here and say, oh, well, you're at a higher risk of being abandoned and being left behind, because this is their nature, guys. This is who they are. This is what they do. And like I said, if they did abandon you, if the people around them abandoned you, if the, whatever, they did you a favor. They did you a favor. And I'm not going to sit here and try to, you know, polish a piece of turd. I'm not doing that, because at the end of the day, you guys know how I am. I'm going to be 100 with you. I'm going to tell you like it is, and anything that I can do to help you move forward. Yes, and psychology doesn't analyze the spiritual aspect of narcissistic abuse. The biggest impact is on the soul. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I completely agree, because it can break you in so many ways, but the spiritual aspect of it is just, you just, after dealing with people like this, after being around, whether they be your family, your friends, your relationships, it really does break your spirit. It breaks your spirit to the point where it's like, you don't recognize yourself. You lose faith. You lose faith in so much. So you could have been such a sweet, loving, caring person, and you could have been through so much in your life, but you would never have inflicted that kind of pain onto other people. And you have people, I'm one of them, who has reached their breaking point. You reach your breaking point and you're just like, I'm done. I'm done with all of this. And at one point, yeah, maybe you may even question God. You may even ask God, what did I do to deserve this? Haven't I been a good person to people? Why do I keep ending up with people like this? I really strongly believe, when it boils down to emotional abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, relational abuse, spirituality and psychology goes hand in hand. It really does. It really goes hand in hand. And you could be the best spiritualistic person alive, but at the end of the day, these people who walk with this condition, these people who walk with these behaviors, they're oppressed, spiritually oppressed people. Okay, because anyone who has a spirit of just pure genuineness and sincerity and love and emotions, they would never think to inflict this kind of pain on other people. All right. And you, being who you are, all of you being who you are, know right from wrong. So you would know, if you ever slighted someone, you would apologize, right? You would say, look, I'm sorry that I made you feel this way. I'm sorry that I did this. It won't happen again. I promise it won't. But these people, they're just pretty much, it's just that selfish, haughty, prideful, arrogant type of spirits that surround them. But in this case, yeah, spirituality and psychology, they run. I put my bangs to the side and I'm like, but they run hand in hand. They combine them, because most people tend to think, oh well, it's just one thing. It's like, I was talking to a man about it the other day, about black and white, right? It's either black or white. There's black or white. It's either this or that. But the reality of it is that where black meets white is gray. That gray area is the area that we have to look at. Okay, these types of people, it's pretty much the same thing. It's either or. They don't tend. I don't even want to say they can't see the gray area. They can't see that gray area is pretty much the consequences of their actions. It's pretty much the reason why you are all where you are now and why you don't deal with them. But they don't look at it that way. Okay, it's their mind. If I can get into the mind of a narcissist, like really get to the mind of a narc, I would be able to very thoroughly explain to you the intricacies of their brain and how it actually operates, how it actually works. And I would literally be giving you all of their very deep, dark rooted secrets and how to decipher these people. But I do try my best in whatever I can provide to you guys. See, Princess, exactly. We have to consider it. I hate people that be like, oh my God, you're still on that dude. It's not that easy. No, it's not. It's not. And I get a lot of questions in regards to rumination. When people ruminate on it, who are still stuck on it, where they're still thinking about it. You find yourself constantly still thinking about the situation and thinking about, what had transpired between you and the other person. And it's not something that you can get over just like that. You were emotionally invested in that person. You were involved. You were the one who was being genuine. You were the one who was being sincere. You were the one who was in love. You were attached deeply with that person. You have people who have gone through the motions, and it could be, months or even years, and they're still not over what happened. And I'm going to be honest with you. If a therapist was to tell you, well, don't you think it's time you should move on to the next stage? You have to understand that healing takes time. Healing takes time. Physical healing and emotional and mental healing, they're different. They are different. You can heal physically from any kind of, physical trauma. You can heal from that within, days to a couple of weeks to a couple of months. But when it boils down to emotional and mental, psychological trauma, that's totally different, completely different. Your mind stays stuck on what happened because that investment, that manipulation, slowly. I did a video on I think it was the, like the incident, pretty much the ins and outs of being in a toxic relationship with someone. You were slowly, I use the analogy of an IV. Okay, the IV was the line between you and that manipulator, and the poison that was in the IV that was dripping slowly into your blood, into your system, that was the manipulation. That was over time. So if you were with someone, let's say 5, 10 years, okay, and whatever happened, and you went through the narcissistic discard, and you went through everything that you've gone through, do people really expect for you to just get over years and years and years of emotional and mental abuse? Well, you're still talking about it. It's been over. That person moved on. And, yeah, because you know why? That person was not invested the way I was invested. When you are in love, when you were deeply involved with someone, to say, okay, a month later, all right, fine, I'm over it, and you move on to the next person, then you were never really in love. You were never really invested in that person. Okay. And that's their MO. That's what they do. They will slowly find someone else to replace you while they're still with you. They find someone else to replace you, to take your place. And the 5, 10 years that you had invested with that person, it's just nothing. It's okay. It was what it was, and that's it. I moved on with my life. I'm with the next person. People who tell you, get over it, move on from it, you're not so much, and I want to explain this to you guys. You are not in love with a narcissist, okay? Even though you ruminate, even though you think about it, even though you just kind of, you wonder, you're not in love with them. You are, or you were attached to them. There's a big difference, okay? You were in love with them in the beginning. You were in love with them during the course of your relationship, especially when they were giving you the attention, the validation, the affection, the things that made you happy, the things that made you smile, the things that made you feel good. Yes, you fell in love with a facade. You fell in love with a mask, with an image. You fell in love with someone who did not exist. The minute that love turned to just straight old attachment, because you got to remember, if you're in love, if you are in a relationship with someone, attachment is normal. Everyone gets attached, okay? Attachment leads to falling in love with them, because you have to attach to the person. But the minute your relationship turned from It's not even love anymore. It's just straight up attachment. It's just pretty much that trauma bond that held you together. Okay, so now after everything happened, you have to break free from that. You have to break free from a trauma bond, and that's not an easy thing to do. Breaking free from a trauma bond is like a drug addict trying to break free from their drug addiction. It's not easy. It's not easy. And people, much like alcoholics, much like anyone who has an addiction, because that's pretty much what it boiled down to, you relapse. It happens. You relapse. You end up, saying to yourself, oh, I'm going to get over this person. I'm going to move on with my life. And then what happens? They may come around, they may contact you, they may say or do something that tugs at your heartstrings, and then you're back at it. Getting over someone who manipulated you, who manipulated the entire relationship, who made you believe that you were the problem, that you were the toxic one, that you were the one who was pretty much the abuser, the manipulator, all while they were the ones doing it to you. That's not an easy thing to break from. That's not an easy thing to break from, because they had you second guessing everything. They had you questioning yourself. They had you questioning your abilities, your ability to sustain a relationship, your abilities to be a good girlfriend or be a good boyfriend. They had you questioning every little thing about yourself. They had you sitting there wondering, am I inadequate? Am I not good enough? What is it that I'm doing that I don't seem to be fulfilling this person? And the one thing at the time that you didn't realize was these people are siphons. Nothing fulfills them. Nothing you did, nothing you said would have fulfilled them. They just continuously want to take. They're like Pac-Man. They keep going. They keep going. And when they see that they can no longer take from you, that they can no longer get that supply from you, now it's it gets boring for them. It's stale. It's just, this isn't doing it for me anymore. You're not doing it for me anymore. And what do? That's when they're basically transitioning. So now they're no longer the heckle. They're not even the heckle and the Jekyll and Hyde anymore. They're I'm just gonna go full blown into the narcissistic discard. And once they've locked someone else in, once they've managed to, after all the gaslighting and the lying and the nastiness and the pushing you away and the you listen, I know a lot of you have gone through where you're sitting there saying to them, are you dealing with someone else? Certain behaviors you got going on, they don't look right to me. Okay, what's going on? I know we're having problems. I'm trying to fix this with you, but your actions and your words don't match. So what are you doing? What is going on? And of course, a lot of you got, what are you talking about? You see, you're always assuming things. You're always accusing me of things. I don't know what you're talking about, but you see certain things happening. You see a lot of different things happening. And you're saying, but I see you doing this, but you're telling me that. So which one is it? And that's, of course, when they flip everything around on you. You were not hallucinating. You were not hallucinating to what it is they were doing. You were seeing what was going on, but they were trying so hard to keep you at arm's length because they didn't want you screwing with what they had planned on the outskirts. They didn't want you interfering with that, because once they locked that in, they didn't care if the mask fell off. If the mask fell off and you saw them with somebody else, because they already groomed somebody else to believe that you're crazy. You're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. Hell, we'll go even further. You thought you were still in a relationship with them, and they were already dealing with someone else. So all the times, I mean, I'm sure this has happened to a few people, all the times you were calling them, you were trying to find out what's going on, you were, messaging them, you were just, whatever the case may be, if they were with the other individual, or if they were talking to the other individual, or if they were hanging out, whatever the case may be, you're the crazy ex. Meantime, you didn't even know you were the ex. because you still thought we were just having problems and they just need their space. But the reality of it is they were already grooming someone else. But you're going through all of that and someone telling you, get over it. Are you serious? Are you seriously going to tell me to get over this? Are you seriously just going to sit there and say that I devoted 5 years, 10 years to this person? I was loyal to them. I was faithful with them. I loved them. I respected them. I gave them no reason to do me dirty. And you're going to sit here and I get treated like a piece of trash in the end. And I have to deal with them being with their new supply. And I got to sit here and just eat this. And you're going to tell me get over it? I wish somebody would. I wish somebody would tell me. I wish somebody would have said, you know what, Erica, you need to get over it. As if they wouldn't, as if they could never go through what you went through. People who don't understand will never really be as supportive as opposed to people who've already been through the experience, because they know what you're going through. They know exactly what you're going through. And just like you need someone to talk to and you need someone to vent to, they also needed someone. And unfortunately, a lot of us are met with people who don't quite understand what it is that we're experiencing, what we're feeling. So rather than, even trying to appease you, they're just like, oh, well, listen, it's been 6 months. Don't you think you should, so 5 years of manipulation is fixable in 6 months, right? No, I don't think so. Hi, Stella. Hi, hello, Kitty. I'm sorry, guys. I get so caught up when I start talking to you guys, and I don't want to miss anybody. Marcella, what we've gone through, one can learn in any course. The theories are valid and helpful to a certain extent, yes. But it's more about what you experience. So if you're talking to someone who has experienced something similar or has experience, has experience with your experience, then it's probably a lot easier to talk to someone who can resonate with you. You have a lot of therapists and psychiatrists, which they're very good, they're very, smart, clearly very studious, clearly, they understand the ins and outs as far as psychology is concerned. But let's be a little bit more realistic here. Okay? Yes, it's mental abuse, but a lot of it's emotional. A lot of it is emotional, and it's always rooted. It's rooted from somewhere. So though you can go to a therapist and they're very good at what they do and they have all the certificates and the degrees on their walls, what's to say that they can really truly understand what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, what you're going through? And I always found it to be, that's why I do these lives. I always found it to be helpful to just gather everyone together, have a bunch of people who have experienced it, who just want to vent, need someone to talk to, and can feel that, they belong. They belong, because a lot of us at that point in time, you probably thought you were alone. You probably thought that nobody would understand you. And lo and behold, you have a lot of people who understand you and a lot of people who want to talk about it just as much as you want to talk about it. Let's see. Marcelo, I think if we look into their minds, we would see a dark emptiness. Yes. I think they are collectively guided and protected by the devil himself. Well, you know what they say, when the devil can't touch you, what do? What does he do? He sends you a narcissist, okay? And I strongly agree with that. I agree with, narcissists, narcissistic people, sociopathic people, people with just, mental, and I'm not even talking about mental illness. I'm talking about just mental distortion, okay? They are surrounded by, entities. They are surrounded by certain energies that are just very devious, very mischievous, very, it just, because us being human beings, us being who we are, it's kind of hard to really understand why people like this exist. But I always say that, you got to also understand these people were created to be this way. Okay. So they weren't just born this way. They weren't born a narcissist or a sociopath. There was influence in their life. There was influence that went on. And a lot of people who are like this are people who were rejected by their parents. They were rejected by their parents emotionally, mentally, in some cases physically. A lot of them were rejected by their parents. So because they were so rejected on so many different levels by their own caregivers, they basically walk with that complex. And what they have to do is, they're in survival mode. If your own parent is going to reject you, on different levels of your life, different aspects, when they're supposed to be protecting you, when they're supposed to be helping you, loving you unconditionally, giving you that reassurance that you are loved. These are people that have been completely rejected and influenced to believe that it's a dog eat dog world. That's just the way they think. And I'm going to hurt you before you hurt me. I'm going to use you before you use me. I'm going to lie to you before you lie to me. I'm going to leave you before you leave me. That's their mentality. That's their mentality. Because each narcissist, though they are similar, a lot of them are different. And a lot of them have different reasons for being the way they are. So if if you're dealing with someone, for example, if you ladies are, were dealing with the male narcissist, you were dealing with someone who is attracted to women. Women, serve a certain type of appeal, clearly, because, they're straight. I mean, they're still men, right? But they resent them. They resent women. And a lot of the time it's because of their mother. They resent women because they mostly resent their mothers, for whatever reason there is. Okay. Their mother maybe emotionally abandoned them, mentally manipulated them, whatever the case may be. So even though they may be attracted to you in a sexual aspect, in a physical aspect, a lot of the time, hi Cicely, hi sweetheart. A lot of the time they resent women because these women are, representing the woman that was in their life that generally is their own mother. Okay, they were emasculated. Male narcissists are the kind of men who were emasculated at a very early age and throughout their life, up until probably their adulthood. So if you're dealing with the male narcissist, you're dealing with the man who had his identity stripped from him. You may be dealing with the male narcissist who was scapegoated by his mother, or you may be dealing with the male narcissist who was basically been projected onto, in that she basically, because he fed her ego, she pretty much put him on such a high pedestal. you know uh, some women may interpret it as, oh well, his mother set the standard bar too high, so I have to now kind of be something like his mother. No, you don't. You're not his mother, you're not his nanny, you're not his babysitter, you're not any of those things. Okay. Male narcissists, it depends on their relationship with their mother. Okay. And how a male narcissist will treat you is dependent on how his mother was with him. Okay. How any man will treat you. Because at the end of the day, it's a mother's responsibility to teach her son how to be emotionally connected, how to be respectful towards women, how to understand women, how to treat a woman. That is a mother's job. Unfortunately, if you dealt with a male narcissist, you dealt with a man who was not only emasculated by his mother, but chances are his mother probably treated him more like if he was her man rather than her son. Okay? So just think about that if you are dealing with a guy who, hi Chitan, if you are dealing with a guy who doesn't really know how to properly treat a woman. And that if you're dealing with a male narcissist, but he's probably, he probably treated you, I mean, for you ladies who have dealt with the male narcissist, he probably treated you like shit, because in that point in time when he was being triggered, whatever the case may be, he was thinking about his mom. All right. Which is why I strongly encourage a lot of people not to take it. Try not to. Not even. I'm not going to tell you don't take it. Try not to take it personal. Try not to take it in the aspect of you're not a good woman. You were not adequate. You were no good, because it's bullshit. He treated you that way because for whatever reason he has issues with women. It stems from his mother. Stella, the new supply just blocked me on FB, triggered me after 7 months. It's going to take some time, honey. It really, really is. In the end, I wouldn't be so concerned. Excuse me, I wouldn't be so concerned with the new supply, because the new supply has no idea what they're in for. Okay? No idea whatsoever. So more than likely, that person filled in the new supply's head with all kinds of stuff in regards to you. And they're looking at you like you are the jealous ex, or that you can't get over the fact that this person didn't want to be around, or whatever the case may be. I really wouldn't be so focused on them. I know it's kind of hard, like in the beginning stages, and even sometimes towards the middle, it's kind of hard to let things go, or just kind of like not be tempted to peek in, not be tempted to reach out, not be tempted to look. But I strongly feel out of sight, out of mind. When you gain that self-control, that you no longer find yourself looking, you no longer find yourself lurking, or being curious, or even bothering with them. You could take that energy and that focus and put it on you. Put it on you. The new supply is pretty much sitting there. That's one thing I've noticed when it boils down to a lot of different people in their relationships. When they're dealing with new supply, the new supply is sitting there like, look at her or look at him. They can't get over the fact that my man or my girl doesn't want to be with them anymore. And that's because the manipulator is clearly feeding them, okay? Spoon feeding them lies and manipulation. And of course, telling them things, negative things about you, because they automatically want, and that person doesn't even have to know you, but they want that person against you. Because as much as you continue to try to fight, or if you try to push, or even if you try to warn them, that person is already going to have it incepted in their brain that you are just the bitter ex-girlfriend or the bitter ex-boyfriend that just couldn't let go. And they're happy and they're great and they're doing their own thing. And you know what? And you've ever noticed the attitudes they have? A lot of people, like, they'll have that attitude. Well, you couldn't make him happy, you couldn't make her happy, so they got a real man and a real woman to do it. But little do they know, and at first you feel sorry, because you're like, damn, I'd hate to see someone else go through this. But it kind of pushes you, and that's your human nature. It kind of pushes you to say, well, you know what, screw you. Go find out for yourself. Go ahead. Since you know so much. I mean, you know more than I do, right? And I'm the bitter ex, and I'm the one who. Go find out for yourself. Use that energy on you. Use it on yourself, and just focus more on your healing. Focus more on getting your mind back on the right track. It's going to take time, though. It's not easy. I never said it would be easy, but try not to put any kind of energy into it, because they'll know. And the more you think about it, if you put energy into it, it's just feeding them more. It really is. It's feeding them more and more. So you try your best to just say, you know what? Try to be unfazed. In the beginning, it's kind of hard, but then after a while, you literally become unfazed. You become unbothered, because nothing surprises you anymore. Nothing surprises you. Everything is just like, yeah, typical. Yeah, I figured as much. Yeah, I already know the truth. So, and leave no room for surprises either. So trust me, you'll definitely. I tell people, don't worry so much about the new supply. Trust me, because at the end of the day, you were probably new supply when that person had someone else before you. So it's a continuum thing. It's a continuing thing. They run through people, and it's nothing. There's really nothing we can do about it until, of course, if they run into the wrong person, and then the wrong person ends up making them regret doing what they did. Yeah, Stella, I'm dealing with this. My therapist doesn't understand the psychological abuse. A lot of therapists, a lot of doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, they understand it from textbook. A lot of them, I mean, unless they can really, say, I've been through that experience, I understand what you're feeling, I understand what you're dealing with. Um, a lot of them just, it's more textbook than it would be experience. If you have a lot of I noticed, like with drug counseling, right? You have a lot of people who get into counseling with drug addicts. And I noticed that a lot of them are former drug users, and who cleaned up their lives, they cleaned up their act, and they've decided to give back, where they go into the profession. Um, and it helps a lot of the people who need their assistance, because these people know what they're going through, they know what they're feeling, so it makes the transition a lot easier, because there's no, like, crossing of the signals. There's no m- you know there's no there's no mixed signals. It's pretty much cut and dry. This is how it is. I've been there, I know it. I've done this to get myself clean, I've done that to do what I had to do. It makes it easier for people who are trying to recover, when they are dealing with people who actually understand from a personal standpoint. They understand the experience. And I don't discourage people from going to therapists. I actually encourage people to do so, and let it out. Let it out. Whatever the therapist can help you with, go for it. Go for it. And whatever you feel the therapist can't help you with, well, hey, if you want to shoot me a message, shoot me a message. I'll be more than glad to talk, and I'll be more than glad to give you, just to lend you an ear, to maybe if you want some advice, or if want my opinion on something, whatever the case may be. Because trust me, what you've gone through, I understand completely, which is why we're all here today. Even though some of us, could be years, could have been years ago that this happened to you, could have been 5 years ago. And if you're here, you're not being judged. You're not being told to get over it. You're not being told, oh, it's been 5 years. Just, hi, Laurie. Hi, sweetheart. It's, you're basically here to understand. And because I know a lot of you I know a lot of you want to get out of that. You want to just get out of that hole. You want to get out of that, and you just want to move forward. And it's having support. A support group like this is always important. Chatan, even the narc toxic family will involve with the narc in spreading lies about you. They all will groom the new supply together, like like you like they did to you once. But the new supply isn't aware what will hit them soon. Yeah, no, you're completely oblivious. They're completely oblivious, and you're not sitting there thinking to yourself, am I dealing with a narc? First of all, how many of us knew what narcissism was, what a narcissist was? How many of us at that time knew? None of us really knew. None of us knew. We just knew something didn't feel right. We just knew something ain't right. Something's not connecting here for me. It's not adding up for me. But not one single person here can sit there and say, excuse me, while being in a relationship with a narcissist, we were in our laptops looking up narcissistic abuse. We were, because if you knew then what you were going through, or if you knew how to spot the signs, or if we paid close attention, extreme close attention to the red flags, I'm pretty sure a lot of you would have gotten out of it way before even the discard happened. A lot of you, which is, this is why people say narcissists get away with so much. They get away with so much because nobody's sitting there looking to think that, oh, I have to pay attention. Oh, you're love bombing me. or you're gaslighting me. Oh, I who the hell had time to, nobody knew any of that. You thought they were being genuine with you. You thought their family was being genuine. Hey, hey, welcome to the family. Hey, come to a family gathering, come to a family dinner. Hey, let's all hang out and go here and go there and do this and do that. And little did you know they're smiling in your face. Everybody's all smiles. Everybody's like, hey, but the reality is they knew they know what that person was about and what that person was doing. And the fact of the matter is they didn't care, because if they managed to get something out of the situation, yeah, they're going to go along with it. Or if it meant avoiding, because you do have people in a family of a narcissist, and I've explained this before, not everybody in the family is a narcissist. So just like a lot of you are empaths and, normal people, or even codependents, you have family members that are narcissists in your family, yet you're not. It also works the other way too. The narcissist you dealt with has family members that are narcs, but not every single one of them are. So of course that would be up to you to decipher who was who in that situation. Cicely, Stella, I appreciate you too. I definitely, I say focus on you. You throughout your dynamic, I'm pretty sure you put that person on a pedestal. I'm pretty sure you put that person, their feelings into consideration. I'm pretty sure you did a lot for them. Now it's time for you to focus on you, and it's time for you to get back to you, so that way you can just get on with the life that you deserve, and that that's going to just bring you peace, and keep your mind frame. I put up a post on my my Instagram, on my story, and it said, it's basically saying how you weren't really the toxic one when you let people who have toxic habits go. If you notice that you manage to sustain peace, you manage to have the peace in your life. Like my life has been peaceful. I got my place. God has been good to me. I go to work. I take care of my kid, and anyone who comes in my presence, I never skip the beat, guys. Anyone who comes into my presence, they're like, yo, it's just so peaceful around you, because that's who I am. That's who I am. Yet I had someone trying to convince me that I was a toxic person, that I was the one who was completely controlling and trying to manipulate the entire dynamic to go in my favor, which was bullshit. They'll do that when you call them out on their shit. They'll do that when you are like, I got a question about this. They'll, oh, here we go. Or if you want to communicate with them because, certain things that they used to do, they're not doing them anymore. Certain things they used to say, they're not saying them anymore. Certain things they don't want you doing, they started doing. So when you started bringing it up to them and you started talking to them, all of a sudden, you're the manipulator. You're the controlling one. You're the insecure one. Oh, trust me. Been there, done it. It's bullshit. All of it's bullshit. Cicely, I almost felt for that Hoover trap, even with the knowledge. They are good at what they do. New or old supply, but I'm glad it's over. Hopefully she doesn't come back this time. I wouldn't be surprised, Cicely, if she gives it a couple of times. Okay? Female narcissists can be persistent, especially when it boils down to, like if you're on the brink of just moving on and you are being happy, or you're maintaining your happiness, or you're finding you're happy, okay? Or she gets whim of, when the time comes that if you are involved with someone else, if you're in a relationship, and she sees that it is completely done, that you are no longer invested in her, she will try to come back. It's and trust me, when it comes to a female narcissist, they're very competitive, and they're very I mean, they are very, when they feel threatened, especially by another woman. Okay, so if you end up meeting a woman that exceeded everything that she ever possibly could fake in your relationship, and she knows that there's a chance that that woman will treat you better. That woman will have a long lasting relationship with you. It's not even about because she wants you. Because the reality of it is, and don't take this the wrong way, she does not want you. She wants to control you. And she wants to be able to say that anything I say and do can get that man back, even if he's with someone else. It's all about what she can achieve, what she can accomplish in messing with your emotions and making, it's about proving to herself that she can get you anytime, whenever she wants, however way she wants. And that's why I told you, you have to try to resist it. Because what do? They use sex as a weapon. They will use sex as a weapon, guys. And they will do their best to basically lure you back in. Oh, women are known. Come on. Really? Like, women are known to do that, okay? When everything else fails, what do? They'll try to use their bodies. They'll basically use what they have to try to lure you back in. And you unfortunately have some people that are a little bit weak in that aspect, and they fall for it. And it's all about what they can accomplish, what they can conquer. Okay, they're conquerors. That's what they are. That's all it's about. It's not about love. It's not about, oh, I miss you and I love you and I realize how much of a bitch I was to you and I'm sorry and I promise I'll be better this time. No. As sure as my hair is red, that bitch is lying. Okay? And I'm only calling them bitches, guys, because I don't know their names. So we know my mouth already. Okay? A lot of us already know my mouth. So I just want you to understand that. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Chitan, one question, Erica. Why is that some people spend their entire lives, 15, 20 years with them, despite the abuse? That's a good question. Well, it really depends, Chitan, because you do have people who suffer severe codependency issues, okay, where the trauma bond is so deep and it's so rooted that you have so many different scenarios. You have some people who don't think they can do any better. You have people that have very low self-esteem, and it's just, I'll just deal with it. You have people that the manipulation is so deep rooted that they don't even realize that they're being manipulated. They just think that I'm just so in love with this person, or I've been with this person for so long, I can't see myself being with someone else. I can't see myself loving someone else. Failing to understand that it's not love, it's just attachment. It's just you're attached to the toxicity. You also have people who are inverted narcissists, which are people who are covert narcissists. They're codependent narcs. And because their life revolves around being codependent on toxic people, that they find themselves only sustaining relationships with other narcissists. Okay. And inverted narcissists, they're basically just the codependent types. So they still have the same types of traits of narcissists, but they're just more in that they sustain relationships with other narcissists. They can't sustain a relationship with normal people or even just regular codependent people. They just, their toxic lifestyle growing up was just so ingrained that they just see themselves being involved with other narcissists. And the crazy part about it is that if they're with another narcissist, the level of when the discard happens, because you can have two narcissists together and one narcissist discarding another narcissist, the level of the discard won't have an effect on them like the level of the discard, that had the effect on you. It's pretty much okay. All right. Because you got to think about it too. It's two narcissists. So it's like two people who, you know, they're like they could be discarded by a narcissist and it wouldn't really bother them. However, I don't. I mean, I've never been in that situation, but I strongly believe their levels of the discard will run the same like a regular narcissist with someone like yourself. So if you are with an inverted narcissist, they would discard you just like another narcissist would. But I think if you were to discard them, it would have an effect on them. Um, because of the fact that you don't possess the same kind of qualities, the same types of dysfunctions that they have. Like, if you ever notice how they say, if you don't walk from a narcissist, run. So like when you if you discard a narc, it's like all hell breaking loose for them because a narcissist can't handle rejection. They can't handle the idea of you do not want me. You don't want me, which is why, like I said, they leave you before you leave them. So if they have any kind of idea that you're going to leave them or you're going to reject them, it's too much for their ego. It's way too much for their ego. And as hollow as that ego is, it's still too much for them. So it's just the irony for me, an inverted narcissist can be discarded by another narcissist. And I think it boils down to because that narcissist is just as dysfunctional as they are. And more than likely, they're going to end up back together again anyway. But I think if a normal individual such as ourselves were to discard them, that wouldn't be a pretty sight. That wouldn't be a pretty sight. They can't handle rejection. And if you reject them, it's like audacity. Like, how dare you? How dare you reject me? How dare you say no to me? And you're looking at them like, the Baskin and Robbins got 31 freaking flavors. You really think I'm gonna stay stuck on vanilla? Get the hell out of here. My opinion. It's the way I say it. Let's see. Let me just make sure. I want to make sure I didn't skip anyone. Marcelo, yes, nothing surprises me, nothing shocks me. I've learned they literally have no limits. That's why we have to choose wisdom and protect our energy at all costs. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And in case you don't know, guys, I mean, you do have some narcissists that dabble in, in dark arts and stuff like that. So you have to be careful with that too. You have people who deal with black magic. You have people who deal with, some of you may believe in it, some of you may not. And that's, of course, your prerogative. I strongly, I believe it exists. I do. And I strongly believe that, you're dealing with the kind of people that will go to any lengths to get what they want, even if it includes trying to affect your free will. Because that's exactly what black magic does. It affects your free will. You have people who do, voodoo and hoodoo and all of that unnecessary stuff because in the end, it's like you have to go through these extremes to get someone to be in your life, to be with you. That's manipulation. That's another way of manipulating someone. So if you ever feel like your energy is being tampered with, you ever feel like you're just energetically drained or you're spiritually drained, however way you want to perceive it, you have to protect yourselves at all times. Okay, there is a such thing as the evil eye. Like it's just that pure jealousy. It's that pure that darkness, that hatred, and people can really push negative energy towards you. They can really do that. So you have to be very careful with that, especially if you're dealing with people who like to get involved in stuff, in that stuff, like candle magic and all that stuff. Some people may believe in it, some don't. But at the end of the day, listen, it's why chance it, right? Why chance it? I don't know if anyone has ever tried to do black magic on me. I mean, part of me does feel like someone has tried to tamper with my energy and tried to affect me in more ways than one. I've had entities, like, I've never had the ability to see, apparitions and let alone, see spirits. But when I got to the point that I started seeing spirits in my home, yeah, no, No, I don't mess with that. I don't mess with none of that stuff. I don't mess with that stuff. And I can't see myself messing around or dealing with people who do, because, you're inviting certain things into your life. You're inviting certain things into your home. And you got to remember, guys, people walk with attachments. They walk with entities and things attached to them. Narcissist people are, or narcissists in general, are, believed to have a very bad spirit with them. Okay. It's called the Jezebel spirit. And this is the kind of spirit that is very malicious, very dark, very evil, very oppressive. Okay. It's they're basically perceived to have this attachment, this entity with them. And I strongly believe that when they go into rage, that narcissistic rage, that like really, that beyond dark mode, that is a spirit that is really trying to push through them. Like, it almost seems as if they're possessed. Like, you can't recognize the person. They seem like they're possessed. They seem like, yo, you have like, it's like a complete different personality. You do not, that person was not the same person that you first met, especially when they go into that rage. And they can be very dangerous, extremely dangerous when they're in rage, guys. It's not something where it's like, okay, yeah, I strongly do not encourage, and I'm going to make that clear. If you're dealing with a narc, or if you've ever dealt with them, do not antagonize them. Don't do that. Because if they're especially in that rage, and you're at that point where you're like, you're getting angry, and some people, you guys don't do it on purpose, but you're getting angry to the point where you're provoking them more. They can become very dangerous, extremely, extremely dangerous, especially if you're dealing with someone who not only suffers NPD, but may have a mental illness. They can become very dangerous, and they can do some serious damage, some serious harm. And I encourage everyone to stay safe as much as possible. So you may feel the need or feel encouraged to like try to ruffle their feathers a little bit, or it's I had the opportunity to do that, and I decided not to do it because I saw what that person was capable of when I was alone with that person while they were going through narcissistic rage. I saw that. And at that time, I was just more focused on trying to heal myself from the situation and get away from it, just to pull away from it. But when they show that side of themselves to you, that should be incentive, especially if you have children. That should be incentive that you do not want someone like that around your children. Okay? Because that right there is who they truly are. That right there, that anger, that rage, that craziness, that right there lets you know. So you're gonna tell me that anytime while we're sleeping, you could just snap my neck in my sleep? Because it can happen, guys. Whether it be a male or female. You have females that are sociopaths. You have females that are psychopaths. You have females that will, in your sleep, if they have just a smidgen of an idea that you are talking to someone else. And mind you, they could be doing all this stuff behind your back. They could be doing all of this. They could be sleeping with half your crew. They can be sleeping with half the damn neighborhood. They can be going out there and dealing with so many different guys. But if they get an idea in their head or a smidgen of a clue that you are possibly, even if it's an assumption that you're dealing with someone else, they can snap. That's how one-sided they are. That's how contradictory they are. They can snap, and they can do something to the point where they can physically harm you. And mind you, they're doing all this grimy bullshit behind your back. They're not worth it. They're really not worth it. That's why I tell a lot of people who are going through the motions, when you're dealing with someone who may be a narcissist or who is a narcissist, you're dealing with someone who's petty. You're dealing with someone who is selfish, who is arrogant, who is mean, who's cold, who's emotionless, who is playing a role, just to get whatever they can out of you. when you can be with someone who loves you, you can be with someone who cares about you, who would adore you. You know, you worship the ground they walk on, they worship the ground you walk on. You guys support one another. You guys are there for one another. You can be with someone who can, I don't even want to say make you happy because you're responsible to make yourself happy, but someone who makes themselves happy and shares that with you. That's what you can have. And even though it's hard to let go of what happened, because you never forget that, guys. You don't forget it. You will never forget it. Okay. You may cope with it. You may deal with it. You may live with it, but you don't forget it. You don't forget what you went through. And it's going to be a while before you can actually fully trust someone again. It's going to be a while before you can actually say, I'm ready to let my guard down, because you're probably going to end up putting a lot of people through the test. It's going to be a very, it's going to be a bumpy road, but you're going to eventually meet someone that's going to be up for the challenge. That's going to know you've been hurt. That's going to know that you have gone through everything that you did not deserve, but because they feel you're worth it, they're going to be willing to work with you. And that's the kind of person that you deserve. That's the kind of person that should be in your life. Not someone who's going to sit there and just be like, well, what can you do for me? Even though they don't flat out tell you that, but their actions show you, what can you do for me? This isn't enough. You're not enough. This ain't good enough. I'm not happy. You don't make me happy. Bitch, it's not my responsibility to make you happy. That's your job. But when the Cat Williams say, what is self-esteem? It's esteem of your motherfucking self. That's what it is. You understand? We're not responsible for their happiness. We're not responsible for them. We're responsible for ourselves. And they spend so much time giving you that false impression. Well, I'm not happy, so that must mean you're not making me happy. Shit, you need to make yourself happy because I'm perfectly happy with myself. Steven. Hi, Steven. My ex tried to hoover me via PlayStation and different numbers. Now I'm changing my number. Seriously? PlayStation? I've heard of the, like the different numbers, which I tell people, change your number, guys. If you can do it, do it. Change your phone number. Change your phone. People think that no contact means I'm just not going to say anything to them. I'm just not going to bother with them. No contact means removing yourself completely from that person or these people. No contact means I'm blocking you. I'm keeping my page private. You will have no access to me. That means them not being able to find you, not being able to talk to you, not being able to say anything to you. Okay? I know a lot of people, you don't want to change your number. Just understand that with not doing that, you run the risk of these people, who are known to stalk, who are known to harass, who are known to try to make your life a living hell. You are running the risk of these people finding ways to either creep back in or get a reaction out of you. Get a reaction out of you. I always strongly tell people, if you can change your number, change it. You may not be able to change where you live, but change your phone number. Make your social media accounts private. Okay. And at the end of the day, there's a way of disarming these people. If they come to you and say, hey, can we talk? No. Simple. 2-letter word. No. Look, I know I was wrong, and I know this, and I'm glad you acknowledged that. Still not going to talk. Or I've changed. Great. Hope your next person is happy with you. You understand? Because you have to let them know you want nothing to do with them. Now, if you are giving them, and I'm not saying you are, but if if you're giving them little cracks and crevices to peek in to see what's going on, especially when you have not gone through your full healing, when you have not really let them go, you're setting yourself up for failure. You are setting yourself up for failure. Okay. At the beginning, I thought I was cool. I thought I was good. I thought I could handle it. I could not. And because I could not, I went on a hiatus, and I just kind of I stayed away from social media. I stayed away. If I can't see it, it can't hurt me. Okay? I needed to focus on me. And I stayed away from social media. I deactivated all of my accounts. Okay? And did I slip up in the beginning? Yes, I did. And I'm not going to deny that. I did, like anybody else. Okay? You answered a text message, you answered an email, you answered a phone call, you saw them in public when you ended up making the right towards them when you should have made the left. It happens, guys. It happens. Okay? But you have to really want to get these people out of your lives. You have to really want to say, no, I don't want to be with you. And as hard as it is, I know it's hard for a lot of people. You have to. The one thing I did was I thought about how he treated me. I thought about the words he said to me, and it kept staying in my head. That's what encouraged me. That's what pushed me. Everything he did, the way he treated me, the way he talked to me, the way he downgraded me, the way he degraded me, the way he made me feel like I was. Now, you know what? I'm not even going to say he made me feel that way. He pretty much presented to the world that Erica did not exist. Erica wasn't shit. Okay? That pushed me. That encouraged me. And when I stayed away from social media for months, it wasn't even days or weeks, it was months. When I came back, I wasn't affected by it. Out of sight, out of mind, guys. Out of sight, out of mind. It does work. It works. And while you're doing that, you're focusing on you, you're taking care of yourself, you're getting your life in order, you're fixing your mental health, you are improving yourself, you're making yourself look better, you're making yourself feel better, you're going to the gym more, you're reading more, you are traveling more, you're doing so much more for yourself because you're not sitting there wondering, what are they going to post up next? What are they going to do now? Who are they talking to? Why is this person saying that? Why is that person commenting on their pictures? Out of sight, out of mind. You won't give a damn when you come back. You'll be like, okay. So that's what you have now? That's who you have? Well, I'm not surprised. Because the people that they were, when they projected onto you, that's who they are. So when you look at what it is that they discarded you for, they degraded you for, they hurt you for, when you look at all that shit, this is you. This is what you do. Oh, this is okay. All right, cool. Now you come back with a comeback, but you come back with something better. Don't let them get to you, guys. And I tell you guys all the time, they try to hoover you back in. They try to say something. If you need me to remind you, I will remind you. You shoot me an email. You let me know, hey, Erica, listen, this person did X, Y, and Z. Remember what they did, right? Remember what they said, right? Cicely, wow, that's the truth. But it's hard to exceed or treat someone better than what she did. I have to remember it's a disorder and they can be really dangerous and can't change. Yes. Yes. And Cicely, you reach out to me on a regular basis, and you know how I am. I tell you like it is. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything in that sense, but I'm also going to tell you in an aspect from a mother. I'm a mom. I have a son. And the things that you described to me, I would never ever want my son to deal with something like that. So I will give you the best advice I can give you based on my maternal aspect, because I want to see my son be in a happy, healthy relationship. Okay. So I will never, ever try to steer you guys, you men, in the wrong direction. I will basically let you know she's no good, homie. She really isn't. And after all that disrespect and the way she treated you and everything, and it was the same for me. I looked at him like, how could you talk to me that way? I'm a daughter. You have a daughter. I'm a daughter. How can you talk to me that way? And I come to learn that he has an interest in women. He just resents them. He resents them. And if I had to guess, he resents them because of his mother and his ex. And because his mom and his ex, you know, let me not get into it. I'm not going to get too much into it, but I looked at, you as a woman, I would look at a man like that and say, you have a mother and you have a daughter and you have sisters and you have aunts and you treat me like this. Goes to show the people in your environment that see that this is how you treat women. This is how, and I won't even say women, how you treat me, because I'm a woman. It just let me know that somewhere along the lines, someone, a female in his life, slipped between the cracks. And if I had to guess, it was his mother. It was his mother, whom he probably internally resents, emotionally or mentally resents. And he ended up being with a female that had certain depictions, certain energies, certain behaviors that reminded him of his mom. He ended up falling for her, and then boom, he ended up getting the shitty end of the stick with that woman as well. So when they go through those stages, and of course, when they meet women like us, ladies, that we are maternal, we're caregivers, we're loving, we are caring, we're kind, we are generous, we're respectful. It's like with us, they wait for the shoe to drop because they're so used to dealing with females that pretty much ain't shit. And then look, we get the shitty end of the stick. Princess Erica, he used to bash his mom to me. He hated his mother. A love and hate relationship. Yeah. That's pretty much, and it's crazy how if you were good to him, you treated him like royalty, you treated him like a man. It's crazy how he would probably take out on you certain things. Again, they resent their moms for whatever their reasons are. I mean, listen, we all have issues with our parents. We all have issues with our moms, our dads. I mean, it's common. It happens. But at the end of the day, when you're dealing with someone who resents, and it can be subconscious too, guys. It doesn't even have to be literal. It doesn't have to be conscious. They can subconsciously resent their mothers, and they subconsciously, because they resent their mothers, yet they are accustomed to the behaviors and they're accustomed to the environment with the women that they resent, they end up attracting women that are in essence are resemblance to their mother, not physically but emotionally, mentally, toxically. And when they meet someone who is the total opposite of the woman that they resent or the women that they resent, it's a very big triggering type of relationship for them, because it's just something that they're not accustomed to having. If you provided him emotional fulfillment or you tried to provide that to him, he doesn't know what to do with that. And that's because his mother didn't emotionally fulfill him. His mother did not mentally or psychologically fulfill him the way she was supposed to. And unfortunately, a lot of you females have dealt with men who have been going through these cycles with these types of women. But, yeah, he definitely said his father used to beat on his mother all the time. Yeah. It's when you're dealing with someone of this stature, princess, there's 9 out of 10 times there's abuse going on in the home. There's abuse going on, physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse. And listen, we all have our issues. We all have our dysfunctions. We all have everything that we've gone through. But at the end of the day, When do they, you got to think about it this way. When did they stop becoming reasons and they start becoming excuses? Because at the end, listen, I could say my parents were abusive towards each other. It's just an example. I could say that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be an abuser and then I'm going to internalize that and start abusing other people. Why am I going to do that? What did you do to me for me to abuse you? Nothing. People know right from wrong, guys. People know right from wrong. And at the end of the day, his parents could have fought each other. They could have abused each other. They could have brought each other down and ran each other ragged, ran each other through the mud. But he's old enough to know that it's wrong. It's wrong to be that way. It's wrong to do these things. It's not a good feeling. The minute something doesn't make you feel good, you know that it's not right. It's not for you. So people tend to, especially narcissistic people, people that stand in this position as manipulators and perpetrators, they'll use their past as a well, my daddy didn't really spend time with me. My mom always hit me, or my dad always beat me, and my mom was in her own world, and blah blah blah, boom boom. Okay, that's an excuse. So you're 35 years old, you are acting like an asshole, you're acting arrogant, you're acting, petty and belligerent, you're acting all of the, you're just pretty much doing all of this. Why are you doing this? What's their answer going to be to you? They're going to give you excuses. They're going to give you excuses. They're going to deflect, but they will not take accountability. They will not sit there and say, I'm a screwed up person. I'm a screwed up person and I need help. They're not going to say that. And if they do, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. If they do, it's to appease you. It's not to really change. It's not to really change. It's not to say, oh, I really genuinely want to change. I want to be with you. Proof is in the pudding. Proof is in the pudding. And if you think that someone who is a narcissist on the spectrum is going to change, they're 35 years old, you think they're going to change in 6 months? Look at how long it's taking for you to heal from this abuse. Look at how long it's taking you to get through the motions. Okay? And you were the victim. You think they're going to change after 6 months? We live in reality, guys. You guys are smart people. You know, you understand. And the one thing we're not going to do here is we're not going to let people who have done everything possible to tear you down, to hurt you, to bring you down to your knees, to your lowest point, to just waltz back in and say, I've changed, when the only thing they fucking changed is their underwear because they were too busy screwing around doing what it is they do. I won't let that happen. I'm not allowing that to happen. That's not going to happen. I get mad for you guys too. I get mad because I'm already through my healing. I already went through my healing. I went through my emotions. I went through my stages. Will I ever forget? No, I will never forget. I will never forget what I went through. But at the end of the day, I get mad because it's like, I know what you're going through. I've been there and it sucks. It really sucks. It sucks to ever have to go through that, and unfortunately, we have to learn certain lessons in this life. And unfortunately, a lot of us have to learn the hard way. Stella, my ex called me a psycho in psychosis and other nasty things. I never got an apology. He went into a new chick. They don't change. Yeah. I never got mine. And, one would think that, oh, well, after everything happened, let me reach out to this person and apologize. They're so egotistical and so prideful, and they're so fearful of rejection. They won't apologize to you. They will not apologize to you. And a lot of the time, they'll only apologize if it would mean you letting them back in. or they're going to get something out of it. That's the only reason they would apologize to you. But they're not going to sit there and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. They're not going to do that. They would rather just go on having the world think that you were the one who was crazy. You were the one who was toxic. You were the one who, who created all the havoc in the relationship. They would rather that. And you know what? That's the reason why a lot of them get away with it, because a lot of victims don't talk about it. A lot of victims don't come out with it. A lot of victims don't say, this is what happened. This is what really happened. I'm not one of those victims. I am not one of those people. And though I do not care what anybody thinks of me, especially the people who are in his group, the people who are in his circle, the people who are in his family, I'm not keeping my mouth shut. Not for nobody. Okay? And I'm Puerto Rican. And if any of you are Puerto Rican up in here, you already know how we are. We don't keep our mouths shut. Like, I don't keep my mouth shut. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I'm the victim. And I'm going to sit here and cry and hurt. And nope. When you knock me down, you better make sure I can't get up. That's my mentality. You knock me down, make sure I don't get up. Because if I do get up, I'm going to make you regret that you ever tried to knock me down in the first place. We don't play that over here. Joshua, my aunt was my caregiver, and my aunt used to give my cousin, which is her son, a lot of things. And he got married and she still gives him stuff, and his sister gives a lot now. I mean, Joshua, I'll tell you something. It's when it boils down to narcissism, there is a lot of favoritism. There's, like I said, there's favoritism, there's scapegoating, there's manipulation. There's just so many different things. I mean, in the end, I don't know the scenario. I don't know the situation. Maybe this person, your cousin, is, if your family members are narcissistic or narcissists, a lot of the time they do a lot of things because, that person is fueling their ego or fueling their supply. So, whatever, depending on what that situation is. But I mean, you said, okay, so your aunt was your caregiver, and she used to give your cousin, which is her son, a lot of things. And he got married, and she's still, I mean, yeah, you do have moms, who are also very stifling, where they're like, it's my baby. That's my baby. That's my baby. He's mine. He'll always be mine. No, I mean, you got mothers that look at it like, oh, no woman will ever be good enough for my son. And no, but again, I don't know the real thorough dynamics with that. There's nothing wrong with the mom giving her son things. I don't know if that's her only child. I don't know. But I mean, there's really nothing wrong with the mom providing for her son, even though, even if he is married. But if it's like overdrive, or if it's something that, it's just beyond spoiling him or making him feel like, he deserves the best, and she's trying to set the scene or set the stage where the wife ends up failing, I'm not sure. Like, I don't want to run with those assumptions. Cicely, apologizing means accountability, and they'd have to admit they were wrong. How could they when they've done so many people so dirty? That's just the point. They don't. They won't apologize. They won't admit they were wrong. What they will do is they'll pretty much, like I said, they'll try to use other tactics to convince you to come back, to convince you to let them back in, to convince you to be okay with what they did. Oh, that's in the past. Can we leave the past behind? Things have changed now. Can we just leave that in the past? The past is the past. Let's just leave that there, and let's focus on the now. Don't you shouldn't dwell on it. You shouldn't stay stuck on it. What they'll actually probably do is, if you're still like caught up on what it is they did, they'll more than likely accuse you of being, like stuck or like bitter, or like, look, why are you still stuck on this? Okay, this happened. so many, I mean, listen, this could have happened to you 15 years ago, dude, and you still haven't gotten over it. You haven't gotten over it because they don't understand that you don't see them in that same light. They just think that, oh, a quick, I love you. I still, how our relationship is, or, we've known each other for so long. Why are we going to let something like this just tear us apart? Let's try to work at it or whatever. It's just anything to be able to say, I screwed you over, and all it takes is me batting my eyelashes and giving you sex or giving you something or whatever the case may be, so you can, just, I can have you back whenever I want. It's they really don't care about you. They really don't. They don't care about themselves, let alone care about anybody else outside of themselves. They don't. Why do covert narcissists always avoid the truth by acting and talking like nothing happened? Because hearing the truth is putting a mirror to their face. Hearing the truth about everything that, or being confronted by things that they have done or the things that they are doing. They are conscious. They are conscious people. They are aware. They're coherent. They can hear, they can see, they can feel, they can smell, they can taste. They are very much in the presence, in the now, while they're doing it. But they can't handle the the finger pointing. They can't handle being told the truth about themselves because they know they're wrong. But if they can, if they can do things and get away with it, it's that, like, that mission. They're on a mission to accomplish whatever it is. But you guys know firsthand, you know you can't, evil cannot stand to look at itself. Okay, and that's what these people depict. They depict evilness, they depict darkness, and they just can't stand. They don't mind the manipulation. They don't mind running, playing games, lying, cheating, stealing, doing whatever. They will go out there and do it whenever, however way they can. But the minute you confront them, or the minute you put a mirror to their face and you say to them, this is who you are. Look at yourself. I've had to see you this way. They can't handle it. They can't handle it. It's like showing a child a huge blown up picture of Freddy Krueger. They can't handle it. They just cannot handle it. They won't be able to come to terms that this is the monster that they are. And they will live in denial. They'll deny it. They'll deny it. They will deny it. Even if they're caught, they will deny it. You can catch them red-handed. They will deny it. They will be like, nope, wasn't me. It wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember saying this. I don't remember doing that. Are you sure you're not mistaking me for someone else? Are you sure you're not, it's not your insecurities, it's not your trust issues? Are you sure? They'll have you questioning everything, because they just do not. They just do not. They're not capable of, not capable. They're not. They just don't want to see who they truly are. Deeply who they truly are. Cicely, yeah, they be like, that was 10 minutes ago. Are you still on that? Here we go again. Yeah, because they want you to quickly forget. They want you to get over it so they can get on to the next thing that they're going to do. They want you to get over it so they can, they can utilize manipulation, so they can, screw with your head again, lie to you again, hurt you again. It's just, these are just the kind of people that you want to stay away from, guys. You definitely want to stay away from them. Yeah. Princess, yes, I got into a bad car accident right after the discard. I had that gut feeling early that morning. God was talking to me. Oh wait, what Princess? My neighbor, it's a narc, and he's always beating on her, but she never leaves though. You have some people that are just so stuck in the trauma and so stuck in the dynamic that it's just it's hard for them to get out. It's hard for them to really like get out of the situation because they're so codependent. A lot of the time, people who stay stuck in abusive relationships are people that are codependent, okay? That are extremely highly codependent. So they stay stuck in toxic dynamics because of their codependency issues. And it could be anything. It doesn't necessarily mean emotional codependence or mental codependent. It could be financial codependence. It can be, where if they can't afford to live on their own, or they can't afford to, do certain things, they rely on that other person financially. But a lot of the time, people who are stuck, or it could be fear. It could be fear too. You have people who stay in abusive relationships because they fear that leaving can cause the abuser to harm them. Maybe the abuser threatened to harm them, to hurt them, or their children, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of different reasons why people tend to still stay in toxic abusive relationships. um let's see, Sandra. Yeah, it's heavily confusing. They make it out everything is our fault. All the criticisms they make, it's about us. Yeah, because you can't criticize a narcissist. If you criticize them, it's like you're taking jabs at them, or you're trying to hurt them, or you're trying to insult them. And it's like criticism is simply that. It's just, helping you to giving you a little bit of my input, my insight, just to help you improve on something. But to a narcissist, they don't need to improve. They don't need to evolve. They don't need to do any of those things. And that's because they feel that in their deluded minds, they're perfect. I don't need to evolve. I'm already evolved. It's you who needs to evolve. That's their attitude about it. Um, Yashua, what do you call a split personality? Or what do you mean? Like, what classifies a split personality? Or, I just need you to clarify that for me. Because the split personality, everybody perceives that in a different aspect. But um do you mean like what do you call a split personality? How did you co-parent with your ex? Well, me and this particular ex don't have children. This was a recent ex. We don't have children together. Me and my son's 14 years old. Um, Me and his father, co-parent. We co-parent just fine. We did have issues in the past. We had a lot of our own personal issues, but the co-parenting with his actual father is completely, cordial. We work together. My son has a disability. My son has autism. So co-parenting with him is pretty much that. He takes care of his son. He does everything he has to do. I do everything I'm supposed to do. But this recent ex that I'm referring to in regards to my issues, my whole survivorship, no. We don't have children together. We never had children. Oh, what disorder? Well, you have a lot of people would refer like split personality. I mean, like you have like schizophrenia, when it's like they call someone a schizo. Um, but multiple personalities. I mean, I don't really know. Like I have to look more into it. But as far as like multiple personalities, it's to me, it's like it's just a combination of different types of imbalances that someone has in their brain. It's because you have someone who could be bipolar, and one minute they are, they seem normal, the next minute they can have really high highs or really low lows, um which can clearly affect their behaviors, and it can really show or appear to someone as if they have like a Jekyll and Hyde type of personality. um Again, it's the same thing with antisocial personality disorder, you where they appear one way, they appear normal, they appear charming, and then the next minute it's, they can snap, I think it's really general. If you really think about it, it's general, because there are so many different types of personality disorders. A lot of them. You have narcissistic personality, histrionic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, schizoid personality disorder, schizophrenic personality. You have OCD. You have so many different personality disorders. So I think it's just really, in my opinion, it's just like it's what was the word? It's general. I think it's general. I think it depends on what type of personality disorder someone is diagnosed with, someone is dealing with. But it's a disorder within the personality. So if you really think about it, if someone suffers a personality disorder, it's a form of a split personality, where it's split. So someone who has NPD, it's like a part of their brain is pretty much, it's it was trained to be distorted. So though certain parts of them seem normal, seem, like from your perspective, like it seems normal. um the actuality of it is that they have a distorted way of thinking, so they have a very tainted mind. Their brain is just really, it's really distorted. But because personality disorders exist, I think there's just that it goes hand in hand. Anybody who has a personality disorder is just more than likely to appear or seem like they have a split personality, which is the whole Jekyll and Hyde thing. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, they adapt, and they adapt, and in the next moment they're totally different. Yeah, because it depends on what type of disorder they have. Because narcissism, sociopathy, psychopaths, it really depends on what it is that you are fulfilling, you are not fulfilling. Narcissists, when they don't get what they want, they throw temper tantrums, right? Or when they don't get what they feel is sufficient enough, or you know whatever the case may be, they totally appeared like they seem like a different person. you know it's it's very superficial with them, extremely superficial. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you're dealing with someone who has a personality disorder, or even who has a mental illness, there's some type of faulty wiring up here, no matter what it is they're dealing with. So you're going to have shortages, you're going to have outages. It's going to trip the circuit, and you're going to see another side of them that you're like, where the hell did this come from? But if you want, guys, I have on my channel, I did a video on the different types of personality disorders too. All right, it's probably like more towards the beginning. It's one of the older videos, but I did a video listing the different personality disorders, because sometimes people who are dealing with other people that they think may have NPD may be dealing with someone who may actually have something else. So we have to just keep an open mind about that. Definitely keep an open mind about it, guys. But I have no doubt in my mind that a lot of you are dealing with narcissists or narcissistic people, or even possibly sociopathic people. Don't don't let it fool you. Yashua, yeah, histrionic personality disorder is, which is in that video that I did. Okay. And I also did a video called Is It Narcissism or Something Else? That also has histrionic personality disorder. But it's similar to it's a disorder that's very similar to narcissism. Very similar. It's similar to narcissism and borderline personality disorder. All right. That will give you more detail. That will give you more detail on the disorder. But you can definitely check that out. So is it narcissism or something else? And the other video is the 10 different, I think it's 10 different personality disorders. And it gives you, in that video, it'll give you the different personality disorders and a brief description of each of them, just so that way you can become familiar with the different types that there are. But histrionic is more on the extremely superficial level, and it's really more about people who have very low self-esteem, that they are they're just pretty much willing, they're desperate for the attention, they're desperate for validation, that they literally rely on other people to validate them. That's what keeps them gives a narcissist fuel. The validation, the external validation, gives someone who has histrionic personality disorder, it gives them life in a way. It just gives them life, because they cannot sustain self-confidence and self-esteem. So they work through other measures to get attention. All right. So that's why I don't use the word narcissist all the time in dealing with, or seeing the actions of other people, because I've seen other people demonstrate what most would probably see as narcissism, when it could be a classic case of histrionic personality disorder. So it's important to learn about these different disorders, guys, because it's, you wouldn't want to confuse someone with something else. Okay. But guys. Okay, so Amanda's putting up the links for the videos. So if you guys want to check those out, I would strongly encourage you to do that, so you can learn more about these things. It's narcissism plays a big role. It plays a very, very huge role. But there are other personality disorders that you also have to be on the lookout for, because, even though a narcissist probably won't go for help, they won't go for therapy, they won't do any of that. You want to be able to make better, what's the word for it? Oh my gosh, I'm like a blank today. You want to make better, just a better observations. You want to, make sure that you are looking for the right types of clues, the right types of red flags. You're welcome, Cicely. The right types of red flags. Red flags are red flags, whichever way you look at it. But you want to be able to determine what type of people you're dealing with. Okay? Because, you got to remember that someone who suffers narcissistic personality disorder and someone who suffers antisocial personality disorder, one is more dangerous than the other. Antisocial, ASPD, is a lot more dangerous than NPD. So you can be sitting there saying to yourself, well, this person is a complete freaking narcissist. And the reality may be that person may be a sociopath, and they can be much more dangerous. So you have to be very, very careful. Okay. And we all come together to make sure that everybody understands that, and everybody is making the right choices, doing, making the right moves, and of course, always staying observant. You have to continue to observe people, observe the patterns, observe the behaviors. I'm not saying put them under a microscope, but at the end of the day, if you don't want to run the risk of going through what you went through before, you definitely have to keep your eyes open, and always keep an open mind with everything. All right, so guys, I was trying to only stay on for an hour, but you know, I'm not complaining. You guys came through and you guys are here and you guys definitely got involved. And I'm really glad that all of you, most of you are here. Most of you were able to give your input and, of course, help other people by, you know, sharing your experiences. So that's, you know, that's definitely that's always a good thing for me because I enjoy it. I enjoy when you guys get involved and you guys talk about things. I mentioned it earlier in the video, and I'm in the video in the live, but I'm going to mention it again. I'm going to continue with the female narcissist slash social. Ugh, I'm tired. The female narcissist slash sociopath crash course. I'm going to do that video for you guys. I hadn't been able to do it this week because I just hadn't been feeling well. You know, I had some things going on in my personal life, but I got a handle of things, and you know, I just need to get a little bit of rest. But I'm going to make the video for you guys, so I want to make sure that I am focused, and I'm super focused, and I am in my creative mode. My videos come out a lot better that way. So I've been in kind of a little bit of an energetic funk this week, but I'll be back at it and I will make that video for you guys because I know it's really important, especially when it boils down to female narcissists. We got to talk more about them, guys. We really, really do. So I will be putting that video for you, and I'll put it in the community board, letting you guys know when it's going to be posted up, so you guys can check it out. All right. So guys, to all of the ladies who are mothers, I wish you all a very happy Mother's Day. Okay. I hope your weekend is filled with relaxation, fun. Okay. It would be your weekend. It's my weekend. I'm going to have my son with me. So I'm already, you know, I'm already getting a head start on enjoying my Mother's Day weekend. But if you are a mommy, I wish you guys a very happy Mother's Day. Oh, Chatan, you're welcome. You are very, very welcome. I'm so glad. Stella, if you're a mom, Stella, happy Mother's Day to you. All right. I hope you all just have a great weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Relax. If you don't have to work, don't work. If you have family that's willing to, you know, it's going to do a whole Mother's Day thing for you, make you dinner, all that good stuff. Sit back, relax, enjoy yourself, pour yourself a glass of wine. You deserve it. Okay. Because you guys know how I am with my son. I love being a mom. My son means the world to me. So I definitely am looking forward to spending the weekend with him. I'm supposed to be taking him to a place where we can play with slime. So it's my Mother's Day weekend, and I'm going to play with slime with my son. But it sounds like fun. So we're gonna try to do it. Thank you, Cicely. Thank you so much, sweetheart. So guys, we'll be back next week. Normal time, which will be Tuesday. Okay, I didn't want to go this week without having our weekly talks, but I will be going back to normal time on Tuesday. And in the meantime, I will be working on that video for you guys so we can get more into the female narcissist, female sociopath. And ladies, don't worry about it because I will be doing males as well. So we're going to work on both sides. But I'm going to call it a night. I'm exhausted. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm so exhausted. And I'm just so glad that I was able to stay up all this time to be here with you. Again, as always, if you have any questions or if you want to reach out to me, you can catch me. Just send me an email, shoot me a message, leave a comment. As always, leave a like on the way out. All right. And I will be back here. Same time, same place, 8 p.m. Tuesday. All right. Hopefully I'll be getting some good emails from some of you. You guys know who you are. The guys who email me on a regular basis. You know, just getting out of the funk and getting back on track. All right, guys. So thank you so much for being here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. You know, I always love having you guys around, and I will be back here next week with you all. Yes, Amanda put my email in the comment section. So if you want to shoot me an email, I will be more than glad to help you through anything you need help with, or like I said, if you just need an ear to lend, I'll lend it to you. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Love you. See you on Tuesday. I'll keep you posted on the video. All right. Mwah. Good night, guys. Bye.